Bass junkie on the mic, worldwide flight. Builders in the base, making futures bright. Many have dreams, stacking beams, take the lead. Bass apps unite, planting every seed. From Tokyo towers to Parisian streets. Builders coding visions, no defeat. Many app magicians, pulling from the ether. Scripts tighter than a bank vault keeper. Silicon spark where the minds all merge. Fireside stories fuel truth in the search. Blueprints blazing, innovations choir. Ideas catching fire, lifting empires higher. Base builders around the world, hands raised. Every mini app's a candlelight in new ways. Code and create, let the passion unfurl. Fireside media shines on the builder world. Base the world. Fireside media shines on the builder world. Fingers on the keys, symphonies of syntax. Builders dropping beats, every line impacts. From the desert top Dubai to NYC, on base and beyond, boundless energy. Spotlights on the crews, every block they tether. Fireside media tells how they build together. Baseline thumping, hearts start jumping. Change in the air, you can feel it pumping.
Dream it, build it, watch it ignite. Base apps blooming, stars in the night.
Base builders around the world, hands raised. Every mini app's a candlelight in new ways. Code and create, let the passion unfurl. Fireside media lifts the builder world. Base world. Fireside media lifts the builder world. Base world. Fireside media lifts the builder world.
Yo, guys, that was, in fact, welcome back to another edition of Fireside Media. As you can see, I am rocking a different look today. Today is Wednesday, and it's the final day where I actually have these tubes stuck up my nose. So the stash had to go, but hopefully tomorrow I'll be back to my usual perky self, giving it all the beans. But today's my last day of recovery. But hey, the show must go on. So we are back with another builder who is innovating and building in this bear market, because as we always say, yes, it is a bear market, but it is build season. So without further ado, guys, make sure if you like the series and you want to support the builders, smash a retweet and show some love to the project who is speaking today. So today from Wageflow, we have one of the team members, Mr. Jeremy. Yo, Jeremy, welcome to the stage.
Yeah, thanks so much for bringing me in. I mean, the opening is pretty cool. And you're totally right. I mean, the market has been pretty bearish in the past couple of years, and but here we are. I mean, we're still a firm, builder, believer for the crypto industry, and yeah, just really glad to be here. Thank you.
Well, it's great to have you on. I know Kitty is the one who put us in touch. Kitty helps me with my socials, but I haven't had a chance to do a deep dive into Wageflow. So if you could introduce yourself, tell us a bit about you, and what is Wageflow?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Jeremy. I'm one of the co-founders for Wageflow. I've been in the crypto industry for quite a bit of time, and it was back in 2019, 2020. That was exactly the last I think the last bull cycle for the space. In DeFi, and then GameFi, all those like very obsolete terms that we have heard before. So I was started my career journey in crypto at a centralized exchange. I was formerly the venture head of that exchange all the way until 2022, and after that I left the company and built up my own project with a couple other co-founders, basically working on AI and verifiable AI, trustless AI, that kind of area. And I started to build Wageflow since last year. So this project has been on for a year or so. and along with two other of my co-founders, Andrew, he formerly also worked in a pretty top tier centralized exchange in Singapore as the head of engineering, and also the other co-founder Ryan. He was also the former CTO of one of the largest EWA platforms in the globe. And yeah, and we basically built a super great team for the business that we're operating right now. So in terms of projects, what we're doing is essentially to build a global settlement and liquidity network for the wage-based assets. So I think many of the audience, I think, here can be split into two kinds, right? So one is the audience that live in Western countries, in the U.S., in Canada, in Australia, countries like that, and also the other half is maybe coming from third world countries like Southeast Asia or some countries in Africa and places like this. But there is a global trend, which is most of the workers, the usual salary workers, they're living paycheck to paycheck, especially after pandemic, right? Because global economy is not been performing that well, and also usually a lot of people encounter a short gap for liquidity before their paydays. So essentially, what we're doing in WageFlow is that we're using crypto as a liquidity provider to fund EWA, or we call it earned wage access assets, which are essentially a cash advance, prepay cash advance to workers locally, for example, in North America, in Australia, in Southeast Asia, and those countries. We provide the workers there with the cash advance, advances before their paydays, and we charge a tiny fee on that. And we use liquidity, on-chain liquidity, basically fund those, services locally. So that's essentially what we do. And the reason why we think this is a really important thing is because, well, in crypto, we all know that the market has not been that well, but I think very counterintuitively, if you look at the numbers of on-chain assets, the volume for on-chain assets and on-chain stablecoin has still been growing rapidly despite the market being super bearish. So right now in crypto, it sits with 300 billion stablecoins now in this year, and the number is still growing in 2 digits. So I think we see a very huge supply for crypto money, but the demand is very weak, right? So let's say if you have money on crypto, the passive income that you can earn by depositing your USDT or USDC is roughly from 3% to 5% APR. Depends on what kind of channels that you put your money in. So the supply is very strong, but the demand is really weak. So that's exactly why that we see EWA as a really good trend to use crypto as liquidity to fund those assets, because EWA is a really high growing field in fintech in the past couple of years, and we can essentially use EWA assets to to essentially bridge that assets to on-chain ecosystem, so that those assets can be used as collateral in many different DeFi projects, and also we can provide provide crypto with better assets with more firm cash flow for the crypto world. So that's essentially what we do.
Okay, so first of all, the team, you mentioned currently undoxed, but with a background, like two of the three founders, former central exchange backgrounds, and the other an engineer. It seems like a strong team. Sorry, you kept mentioning EWA. It's a new term to me. Can you unpack that again?
Yeah, for sure. So EWA is a financial term that is being used in a specific area of fintech in Web2 that is called earned wage access. EWA is essentially an acronym for earned wage access. And what earned wage access is that you can think of it as like a financial benefits to a lot of the workers in many of the countries. Let's say in the US, in Canada, it's all like that. So what EWA is that in the US and Canada, usually workers get paid bi-weekly or fortnight, right? So they get paid like twice in a month, or they get paid like once in a month. It kind of depends on the local habits. But right now, because the global economy has not been performing not that well, and many of the people are living paycheck to paycheck, which means that a lot of the people can actually run out of their cash in their bank accounts before their payday, right? So let's say if you earn your money, earn your salary, let's say on the 15th of every month, but it's very likely that if you're like let's say a worker in Canada, worker in the US, in Australia, or maybe in Southeast Asia, it's very likely that you can run out of your cash on, let's say, the 6th or 7th of that month, right? So essentially, you have a 1 to 2 week gap of shortage of cash. And what essentially EWA provides is that before your payday, we give you a certain amount of cash advance, like a cash check, directly to you. And then when your payday comes, we will directly deduct your cash advance, the amount that you have that we give to you in your account directly. So that's essentially like, you can think of that as like a financial service provided to the workers that have a shortage of cash before their payday. So we fill that gap by providing a cash advance before the payday. Yeah, that's essentially the EWA. Yeah.
Got it. Now, how do you determine how much money you can lend somebody, or do they need to provide over collateralization on these loans, or talk us through like how you ensure that you get paid back?
Exactly. That's a really good question. So when people think about the EWA business, well, first of all, EWA business is a really one of the fastest growing tracks in fintech in the past couple of years. Before EWA, this kind of need, they're usually satisfied by, let's say, consumer credits, products, right? So let's say payday loans, or even in some certain cases, it's usurious loans that have a really high APR. People can actually borrow those money from those kind of platforms, legally or illegally. But now what EWA is essentially probably one of the safest, credit assets in the financial world, because, as you mentioned, it's over collateralized. Well, what does that mean? So let's say if a worker earns their salary on the 15th of every month, right? They get their money on the 15th. Let's say for Canadian worker, they get, let's say, 1,000 Canadian dollars on the 15th, and when they need the money on the 7th, like before 15th, on the 7th of that month, essentially they have already earned the wage between from the 1st of that month to the 7th of that month, right? Because that amount is not being paid to them yet, because they got paid on the 15th. So what we will provide to them is essentially a cut of their of their salary, of the 1,000 Canadian dollars. Specifically, let's say if they need the money on the 7th, we will usually, what we can legally provide to them in a maximum way is, let's say, maybe half of the the 1,000 Canadian dollars. But we will, from the start, we're going to provide them with even a fraction of that. So let's say 100 or maybe 200 Canadian dollars to them if they need the money. So essentially, it's over collateralized assets, which basically means that if we deduct the amount that they get on the 15th of their payday from their bank accounts, we will basically ensure that their salary can fully cover the money that we give to them. So essentially, that's the over collateralized assets, right? Because what they essentially get is a really tiny fraction of what they will get earn on their payday. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, so I understand the part like, okay, salaries on the 15th, the first 15 days divided by the number of days that they've worked. If they've worked 5 days, then they can borrow against the 5 days that they've worked. If they've worked 10 days, they can borrow more of that. Like, they can borrow 10 out of 15 of the days of their salary. I guess my question, my follow-up question to that would be, how do you have access, like direct access to users' bank accounts, and like, are you able to make sure that you get paid before they do there?
Yes, that's also a very, very important question. So the short answer to that is yes. So let's say there are mainly two parts of markets that we're targeting. So one is for the Western markets, for example, in the U.S., in Canada, and also in Australia. Yes, we do have that infrastructure, financial infrastructure that we can directly deduct the money from their bank accounts that get their salary. So this is workable. Specifically, let's say in North America, the platform that provides this kind of service is called Plaid, Plaid. It's essentially a fintech company that provides third-party, payment gateway and also cash flow gateway to any financial services that need the cash flow or need the payment, gateway for the bank accounts of those ordinary workers. Yeah, so that service is legally provided. So essentially, what the users need to do is that when they're using the service, when they agree to use, let's say the cash advance service that we provide, they will have to agree to the term that we can automatically deduct their money on their payday, and if they agree to that, then we can do it. Right. So this is basically the one of the most essential logic for this business, and also for the other countries, for example. For countries like in Southeast Asia, and the answer to your question is also yes, because surprisingly yes, because in the past couple of years, one of the biggest trend that happened in those countries is that the digital footprint in the finance industry has been more normalized. I mean, in the past time, a lot of the local workers, they actually, they were still more comfortable in cash exchange, right? So they use cash to buy things and stuff like that, and the credit system is not that mature there. But now, in the past couple of years, especially after pandemic, the digital footprints for their financial behaviors have already been created. Specifically, let's say in Malaysia, a lot of the workers locally, they're using a wallet that is called Touch and Go e-wallets, and most of their transactions happen on that wallet. So essentially what we can do is that we directly cooperate with wallets like that, and we get also a similar function, we get a similar API from those platforms that we can automatically deduct the money from their accounts if the users agree to that. So that's basically the premise for this business to happen. So essentially we're not a what cash advance or EWA is not a credit business. It's not a consumer credits, which essentially we don't need the users to pay the amount to pay back the advance on their own proactively. We don't need them to do that. So once they agree to that, we just automatically deduct their funds that they got before in their accounts.
And when you're loaning these people the money, are you loaning them in the native fiat currency, or is this are you giving them loans in USDC or another stable coin?
Right. This is also a very, very important question. So right now, for the markets that we target, we're still giving the money in fiat. So that will involve with the process that we off ramp crypto liquidity into local fiat system. So yes, there will be an off ramping process, but also in terms of the other countries that we will target in the next stages, there will be countries that have already got used to using crypto for local financial exchange. For example, there are countries in Latin America that a lot of the people they're already used to using USDT or USDC to pay for their daily services. If that happens, if that premise already happens in those countries, then yes, we will directly provide the cash advances to ordinary people directly with crypto. But right now, at the current stage, for the markets that we initially target for our go-to markets, let's say in Canada, in Australia, I think the local people, they're actually not that used to crypto system that much. But because the off-ramping process, it has already been legalized in the past, especially in the past 2 to 3 years. So by the way, the crypto infrastructure, globally speaking, has been very mature compared to a couple of years ago. So this is also one of the biggest premises that this project can work, because the infrastructure for crypto has already been legalized and normalized as well. So for the services that we provided, cash advances services that we provide in those countries, yes, there will be an off-ramping process.
What are the fees like for this product? If you have on-ramping and off-ramping plus the plus, the, plus, uh, plus, the, 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 So
Right. So
like,
technically
I'm not sure if it's
speaking,
easiest to give an example,
go ahead.
like a case study, however you like.
Oh, yeah, sorry, go ahead. Maybe there's some yeah, maybe there's some lagging on my side. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
think I think there may have been a slight lag. I was just saying, like to explain the fees, obviously like the on ramping, off ramping fees, plus the interest rate that you guys charge. Um, you know, like what would be the easiest way to explain like like how much it will cost users? Would it be a case study, or do you have like a list of like fees?
Right. So yeah, this is also a very important question. So I think the answer to this is it depends on different markets. But overall speaking, I think the main cost is actually not coming from the on ramp or off ramping process, because I mean there are a ton of legal entities or companies that are doing this kind of services very maturely to a lot of the other crypto projects that are not doing EWA, but rather other let's say RWA or maybe other projects. So this whole thing can be it have already been commoditized in terms of the on-ramp off-ramp process. But I think the main cost is actually coming from for users is actually coming from the fees that is associated with EWA. So I think this is also a huge difference between EWA, or we call it cash advance, and loans, because loans essentially they will charge interest rate. I mean, they will charge interest according to, like, in different countries. I mean, the laws for that is a little bit different. So let's say in Canada, the ceiling for interest rate charge on payday loans, which are essentially one kinds of the consumer credit loans, is 14% in one cycle. Usually, one cycle is between 1 to 2 weeks, so it's 14%. So it's really high. Especially for the payday loans locally, and the reason why that the government allowed this rate to be that high, interest rate to be that high for payday loans, is mostly because payday loan companies are really traditional. They usually have those kind of local stores, like you actually have to go into the stores and fill out a form and to get a loan from that store. So the operational cost for those kind of services is really high. So that's why the government has a really high ceiling for set a really high ceiling for payday loans or consumer credits. But I think for us, on the surface, we actually don't charge interest rate. We don't charge interest. So essentially, what users can see on the product side is that, well, there's no interest. So let's say if you want to get let's say 200 Canadian dollars on the 7th before your payday on the 15th, we can just give you 200 Canadian dollars. But besides that, there will be other kinds of fees. So let's say there's we call it some products have it. We call it express fee, which is essentially a fee that you can use to accelerate your process to get that money. Like you don't directly get that money. Get that money if you want. Like you have to pay a certain kind of fee, and also you can also choose to tip the platforms to for the service that the platform can provide it, and stuff like that. So there will be other kinds of fees associated with that. But legally speaking, as long as we provide this service under let's say in Canada under 14% in one cycle, which is ranging from 1 to 2 weeks, that is legal. That is that makes sense for the local people. So that's mainly the cost for the users, and that will give us a relatively larger margin for profits in the platform as well, because as we know that the crypto liquidity right now basically has a passive has a cost of capital maybe around crypto liquidity has a relatively lower cost of capital compared to the money in off-chain, money in Web2, right? Because like all of the capital in Web2, they're attracted to AI and all those like really high return, investment opportunities, but not in Web3. So those money can be attracted relatively in a low cost way to the platform, and we use that money to fund, EWA services or EWA products. So that give us a even higher return. Or higher net interest margins between the capital that we get from crypto and the capital that we give to EWA services, EWA products. Yeah.
Okay, so just walk me through that last part, because you what you're making money on the
Sorry, can
fees.
you hear me
Keep
now?
the fees.
Maybe,
Yeah. So just
yeah, I think there may be some connection problems.
okay. So walk me through that last part, because you're making money on the fees. You keep it under 14% over a 14-day period. Um, that keeps it legal in Canada. There's tipping functions and other things if people want to tip the platform on top of those fees. But then you mentioned about some about DeFi. Like, are you then compounding that, like the yield you get from, like, are you compounding the profit you make? Are you putting that into liquidity pools to get more yield? Did I understand that part correctly for the business?
Right, exactly. That's. I mean, all the questions you raised are all very important. Yes, exactly. So what we can essentially do is to compound the interest or the fees that we get in one cycle, and then we use that money for the next cycle. Which essentially, I mean, this is this is a really important point, because EWA business, unlike other consumer credits, I mean, consumer credits, business or loans, they can range from, let's say 30 days, right, like a month, all the way to, like, let's say 1 year or so. I mean the length of the loans can vary very differently, but at least usually is from 3 weeks or above, right? And most of the consumer credit loans, they sit in between of, let's say, 1 month to 3 months in terms of short-term consumer credits, but some can be even longer. But the good thing about EWA is that, the good thing about EWA is that the capital turnover rate is really high, which basically means that in 1 to 2 weeks we are able to get back the amount that we give to the users, and then we can use we can use the fees that we gather in one cycle, and we put them into the next one. So essentially making the compounding effect quite horrible, especially if you look horizontally throughout a year, right? So I mean, this is pretty standing from a business perspective is pretty good, and right. And the reason why that we mentioned DeFi is because now, for many of the collateralized assets in many of the DeFi protocols right now on crypto, they're mostly some really large or blue chips, tokens, for example, Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC, USDT, and stuff like that. But right now, we don't see there is a real asset, crypto assets that are backed by real cash flow off chain. Even though we have it, most of those kind of assets, they're all like basically just wrap token of traditional financial assets, for example, stocks, all right, like golds and stuff like that. But the problem about those things is that they're still highly associated. There's essentially the same thing as you trade in let's say Nasdaq or traditional financial markets, and also the yield that you can get from those assets is very, one is very unpredictable, or second, if it's unpredictable, then the yield that you get is really low. So what we're essentially trying to create is a new kind of asset class in crypto that is backed by real cash flow, real yield generating cash flow in from off chain world. So let's just say, imagine that let's say there are 10,000 Canadian workers that are using this service, using this cash advance service, EWA services, and they're paying back the cash advances that we originally give to them to the platform with all kinds of fees that we charge on that service. And this can basically form a really high quality cash flow generating assets that can be collateralized on different kinds of DeFi projects, right? I mean, DeFi protocols. So as you can probably imagine, that, I mean, the leverage they can get from those this kind of assets is just unimaginable, right? And also overall speaking, as I mentioned, because the assets sitting, sitting as the cornerstone is the cash flows that we generate from EWA assets, which are probably one of the safest assets in the loan markets, in the consumer credit markets, because it's over collateralized, right? We essentially give a tiny fraction of what people have already earned as their salary. So this is historically it's been very safe. If you look into some existing EWA platforms, let's say in the US or in Canada, the overall default rate is usually under 5%. And from our team's historical history, the default rate that we can control is roughly below 2%. In the very beginning, it's 3%, and then we can basically lower the number down to 2%, which essentially means that this asset is very safe. It's just like the prime loan assets. So yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, it's great for the business, great for wage flow. If you're building an infrastructure that is going to have very low default rate and good interest rates, all that good stuff, and you can compound your profits by getting into DeFi. But is there a way for people to get involved? Are you launching a token? Are there ways that other people can get involved in this market? Jeremy, do I still have you there?
Mike, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Did you hear my question? I think we're having a bit of technical difficulty. Just give it a moment. Just when things were getting good.
Right. This is again very important question. So I think from now, what we have seen in crypto market is that the original narrative driven. Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, I do. So yeah, sorry. I think the here just really sucks. But I hear the question. So I think standing from. I think the lagging problem is quite severe. So maybe I think there's a 20-second lagging.
All right. Okay. He's messaged me. All right. Internet issues there. But I think, Jeremy, if you just answer that question and then give your call to action, we'll put a cherry on this and call it a day.
Hey, Mike, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yes.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I'm not sure about the lag, but I'll give you an opportunity to answer that question and then give a call to action, and then we'll put a cherry on this.
Okay, cool. Can you hear me now? Okay, perfect. Maybe there's some lagging. Okay. Yes, the question is basically how can ordinary people can get the project, right? So okay, no worries. So essentially the question is about how ordinary people can get access to this platform and basically engage in the whole EWA campaign that we create in the crypto markets, right? So I think what we have known so far in this crypto market is that the past the crypto-driven narrative-driven way of playmaking projects have already been gone. I mean, in the industry. So right now we have to get back to the really fundamental question, which is how crypto can create values for normal users, how crypto can create values for the existing world, right? So that means as founders, as entrepreneurs, we have to look for, from day one, cash generating business that essentially use crypto as a central tool or a central infrastructure for creating actual values. And EWA is one of the the opportunities that we have seen that has been really huge in the past couple of years, and so for us, I think our priority now is to do the business well, not only well, but do the business great, and expand the products in our markets as much as we can. So right now we're pretty heads down focusing on building our own products, doing actual growth in Web2, in reaching our arms to those people from different countries that can potentially use the service that we provide. And right now, what we can do, what our product can do is that we can allow users to basically put their money, crypto users to put their money into the platforms and earn the income and the APR that we provide in this platform that is backed by real EWA assets. And we only open this to permissioned in a permissioned way to certain groups of users, not to all, but I think in the near future we're gonna open the entire platforms to all the crypto users that have idle capital, that want to inject their capital into this platform to earn a higher passive income compared to other assets that they can put their money into. So I think we can open up the service near in the future. And also for the future plan of let's say token launching and other stuff that is related to token, we don't have a clear answer yet, because I think our priority now is to build up the business and really get actual tractions and cash flows, and basically prove the whole thing as a good assets that can be added in the crypto markets. So I think that's our priority now. So I think for the people that are interested in this project, I think you can just stay in touch, through our Twitter, through our website, and also we're gonna have our own community in the coming months. And also Base is obviously our home base. We build our entire product on top of the Base ecosystem and also the Base blockchain. So we are, from day one, we plan to integrate our services to the Base ecosystem deeply. So just welcome anybody, any stakeholders in the Base ecosystem to talk with us and have more collaboration and just share more information and just build as a whole. And because we know that the market has been really tough now, which is also a good thing, because we've been through multiple cycles, not only in Web3 but also in Web2 as well. And so we know that for a bearish time is a really good time to build. There's a really good time to build something that is valuable, because all the attention is attracted to other places, especially in AI, which from our perspective is a really good thing, because right now there are not so many builders in crypto, which makes it even less competitive for us to build something that is super valuable. So I think this is a really good time, and the industry has been also been a really good process of debubbleizing. So we just squeeze out all the other useless stuff, and right now we only need to focus on the really useful values and projects. So yeah, just stay in touch, and just anybody interested in, just follow us.
Well, guys, if you want to give them a follow, it's wageflow_. You can follow them on Twitter. Jeremy, I want to say thank you for sharing about Wageflow, an on-chain payment or short payday loans platform where you can deposit money, provide that capital, and get a return on investment higher than stable coins. Looking forward to seeing how this pans out, and looking forward to seeing if this is a net positive for people. So Jeremy, thank you for your time. I know there's a delay, so I won't throw it back to you, but thank you for coming on and sharing about Wageflow. Make sure you give them a follow and check them out if that's something you're interested in, whether that's short-term payday loans from the user side, or for the providing excess capital for the lending side. Follow their Twitter page to find out more. And then, of course, guys, we host these shows every day, Monday to Thursday, and on Friday we have our parties over on Firecaster, 12:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 p.m. GMT +1. Tomorrow I'm getting these tubes out, so I'll be back to my regular self. Can't wait for that. But yeah, thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Thank you, Jeremy, for sharing about Wageflow. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Fireside Media. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, but most importantly, stay based. Peace out, everyone.
I'm a baseline junkie. I'm a baseline junkie. Tell him again. I'm a baseline junkie. Tell him again. And I like it funky.